Continue with some reaction to the announcement of the new cabinet announced by President Ramaphosa last night. Political analyst Dr Zamokuhle Mbandlwa joins me for this conversation. Dr. Mbandlwa, I appreciate your time. What are your thoughts on the increase in the number of ministers and deputy ministers in the new administration?
Good afternoon, Hugo, and good afternoon to the viewers. Well, I think the president was able to balance the relationship between all the parties that are part of the GNU. But what is very interesting is that all these parties in parliament have different caucuses. Now, I'm just wondering how these ministers will apply the policies of different political parties in government when they are in the government of national unity. When these political parties go to people and campaign and present a manifesto or a policy, they present a political party policy which translates to something that they want to do should they be given an opportunity to lead in government. Now, these parties are not leading alone, they are leading with other parties. I wonder how they will influence government to implement their political party policies and how their political parties will hold them accountable for the decisions that they are taking in government, and how the president is going to hold them accountable should they not implement what the president thinks is the right decision to make in various portfolios that we have in government where they are being deployed. So we are still yet to see how they are going to apply their political party policies or their decisions that they've taken in various political parties, and how that contradiction between the ideas of the president and the ideas of the political parties would unfold in various portfolios. Well, what I've also observed is that different political parties have mainly young people who are being deployed as ministers. I was looking at the Soli, who is the Minister of Communication. I think he's the youngest because he's 38. And I think he's coming from a Democratic Alliance. And if you look at those who have been deployed, who are coming from the ANC in particular, which is the majority because ANC have about 20 ministerial positions. Majority of them are not young. And I hope that young people are paying attention to what is happening, because young people are always making a call to say, in strategic positions in government, young people must be accommodated because they are the future of this country. And even in this GNU, they've been making a call for the president to appoint young people. Well, I think and I believe that all those who have been appointed as ministers and deputy ministers will not focus mainly on people that are supporting their party in the community. They will work as ministers and support the people and take decisions that will favor the people on the ground, regardless of their political party affiliation.
Now, Dr. Mbandlwa, there's some calls where individuals have said, well, that government, or in fact that cabinet, has gone up from 64 to 77. In fact, Action SA's Athol Trollip says it is a bloated government. Was there a way that President Ramaphosa could have worked around this cabinet, this GNU cabinet, considering that you've got multiple political parties, you have multiple interests to take care of, and part of taking care of the government of national unity is to give them seats in the executive? Absolutely.
You see, the main problem now is that with the positions that were available before, some members of parliament who are from different political parties were not going to be accommodated. That is why some department or portfolios were splitted into two. For example, Department of Land Reform was splitted to two, and also Department of Higher Education and Training, they were splitted into two. Because remember, it was the Department of Higher Education and Training, Science and Innovation. Now we have separated that department into two departments. I think in the main is simply because everybody in the GNU must be accommodated. So those who are not going to be accommodated in the GNU or in the cabinet, they were going to excuse themselves as part of the GNU And it was going to create a problem for the government setting, because they were not going to reach the absolute majority. And remember, it doesn't mean that because there is a GNU, therefore there's no opposition party in parliament. There are opposition parties in parliament who are not parties of the GNU, and they will critique everything that is being done by this government of the day, which is a GNU in this case. Well, again, I'm yet to see how parties in the GNU will critique decisions that are taken by the president or the deputy president in government, because they are part of this government now. Whatever that is happening should be something that they embrace as part of this government. So in other words, there are no longer opposition parties. There are only three parties that have a right to critique the government, because they are not part of the government. In the only way to critique the government is to raise issues and motions in parliament, because they are not part of the government.
So what impact might the inclusion of leaders from parties like the DA and PAC in key land reform and agricultural roles have on policy direction and certainly its implementation?
Well, I think President was very strategic when he, some people think that the president was not supposed to award those positions or those portfolios to the PAC and to the DA. Well, I think it was a very strategic move, because remember, the PAC have always been advocating for land reform. They've always said the land must go back to the people, to the native people of the country. Now they are responsible for this portfolio. So whatever that they've been saying to people must take it into action now and apply it in government. So I think many people, not only that, in many other positions, if you look at the Department of Basic Education, DA have been very vocal about the education system in South Africa, how inferior is the education system that we have in the country. Now they are responsible for this portfolio. So we are yet to see whether whatever that they've been saying is possible to be implemented in government, or it will take some time to be implemented, or is it serving the interest of the people in majority or not? So all these portfolios that have been allocated to parties that were opposition parties before are on the basis of people who have been raising concerns about these positions or these portfolios on the ground.
Dr. Mbandlwa, you talked about the various manifestos that were dished out by these political parties in the run-up to the May 29 elections, and each one of those parties promised to take care of the interests of their various constituents should they be elected into positions of leadership. Now, how was President Cyril Ramaphosa, given the coterie of political parties and various ministers and deputy ministers that have been appointed, going to manage ensuring that these individuals do not represent the interests of their various political parties, but common interest of this government of national unity and ultimately the interests of the people of South Africa at large?
Yes, well, this is a very important point, as I indicated earlier on. You see, the main problem now with the government of national unity, all political parties must suppress their own political ideologies, their own strong views about the policies in the political party and what must be done in government. GNU is all about compromises, but we are not sure whether these political parties or these deployees from different political parties in government or in the cabinet in particular will be able to comply with the GNU principles, or they will in a way implement their own political party policies or views. So we are yet to see what is going to happen. Well, sometimes the political parties, in particular, when they are deployed in a specific position or when they are voted in, the first thing that they do, they get rid of people. Let's say, for example, the ANC did not win elections and a different party won elections. Then the ministers are from that political party. The first thing that the political parties do when they get into power is to get rid of strategic people in various positions, such as your director generals, your deputy director generals, HODs, because those are strategic positions in government, which are in the main are responsible for the operations on the ground. Now, the politicians or the political principals employ or appoint people that are going to champion the agenda of that political party. Well, those people have qualifications and experience, but they don't just appoint anyone who don't understand the agenda of the political party. Now, I'm not sure what is going to happen in this case, because these political parties will have people that are already in government now, and some vacancies will be available because the senior executives in various government departments are serving 5-year term of office. Now, we don't know whether they will say they want to renew the contracts of those who are already employed, or they will decide to open the position for people that hold strong views of the political parties, of the political principles in those portfolios.
Dr. Mbandlwa, I'd like you to comment on two specific appointments, and one of those is Ronald Lamole's move to the Minister of International Relations and Senzo Mchunu move to the Ministry of Police. What's your take on these appointments?
Well, I thought Mr. Lamula was going to retain his position as the minister because of the qualifications and because of what he has done. However, the president had a different view. Maybe where he is being deployed now is going to have more impact on what is happening, particularly between South Africa and other countries. And I think also the president was very strategic to appoint Mr. Lamula because of the international relations that South Africa have with other countries such as BRICS. So I think maybe he will be able to champion the agenda of BRICS and also be very involved in sustaining the relationship between South Africa and other countries. Remember, he had strong views about the situation currently in Israel. And as a result, South Africa was represented, or South Africa went to ICJ to deal with issues of the conflicts between the Israel and Palestine. Well, I think maybe the president used that discretion to say he is well represented in terms of the relationship between South Africa and other countries. So I suppose that is the reason. With the Minister of Police, well, this position, you will expect to have someone who have strong views about what is happening currently in the country. When you look at the current situation in terms of the crime rate and all the activities that are happening, which are coercing people of the country. Well, I hope that Mr. Senzo Mchunu is going to play a huge role. However, I think he has done some good job in the portfolio that he was holding before. And I was hoping that he was going to be allowed to continue, especially with the agreements that he have already made with water plants and the plans that he had. I was hoping that he was going to be given an opportunity to finish what he has started. However, the president thinks that he will do much better as the Minister of Police. And I think at this point, what we need to do as citizens of this country is to support all the ministers that have been appointed in various portfolios, regardless of their political party affiliation and also regardless of the preferences that people might have. But because they've been appointed now, we have an obligation to support each and every one of them in various portfolios.
Political analyst Dr. Zamokuhle Mbandlwa, appreciate your time giving us his analysis on that new cabinet. In a moment,